Next part of this time is for me to bring our panel under control.
I'm not talking.
I know it's this one. It's always a problem. So we have some friends up here that are just in various places where they're stationed, called in life. Andrew, I'm going to actually, their names are here, and I'm going to let them each tell you where the Lord has placed them, where their work is or where it's been. And then we're going to just do a little dialogue up here on faith at work.
Perfect. My name's Andrew. Is this on? Okay.
Yeah.
My name's Andrew Brooks. I work for the Lane County Sheriff's Office. I've been there for about 10 years.
Amen.
I'm Bethany Cartledge. I'm the executive director at St. Vincent de Paul, and I've been there since 2003.
I'm Kristy McIntryre and owner of McIntryre Construction.
John Ruiz, former city manager in Eugene and happily retired.
Although John is now working in a ton of other places, just not getting paid. That's what's actually happening. One of the best city managers we ever had, right? All right, so we're just going to jump in, and I just wanted to throw this out to you guys. We're not going in any particular order, so you can feel free to answer this. I may peg you if you say something. I'm like, oh, tell me that. But the first thing I would just like you to share is what's been one of the most important things in how you have approached your daily work or did as manager with the Lord. And anybody can just start. I know it always feels awkward, but have at it.
I guess I'll start. I guess one caveat is in my position, I suppose I viewed the community as my workplace, not just the organization, the city of Eugene. So that's a little bit of my perspective. And I suppose one of the things that I thought a lot about was I feel like we witness 24/7, 365. That's just what we do. And the question isn't about do we witness? The question is what do people experience? And so I thought a lot about that and then tried to work through that.
So great. Very good.
I would say for me, so just a quick background, I actually started to pursue a career in youth ministry before I went into law enforcement. And so it was very natural for me to just kind of approach my vocation through faith and through the lens of faith and my relationship with Christ. But I kind of realized I have two facets with my job. It's obviously the community that I serve because people don't call me when they're having a good day, right? But it's also the coworkers in which that I work alongside with. So, Chuck talking a lot about those five facets and applying it to your workplace is how do I do that, not just with the people that I serve, but my coworkers, and then how I respond to things and how I respond to stuff within the workforce through the lens of my faith and my relationship with Christ.
It's awesome.
I think in just practical matters for me, the only time I really have just to myself is between 5:30 and 7:30. From then on, it's you're going to be pulled in so many different directions. So for me, how I have approached faith with my work is really making sure that I have a fervently protected morning time, because I know that I'm going to be putting out all day long. It's going to happen on the weekend, after hours, in the evening. I have a very patient husband, which I'm really thankful for. And so for me, if I want to be effective, I have to be really plugged into that power source. And if I'm going to flow out and put out to the degree that I do, I have to have a daily fill. So that's my most important thing to how I approach my work, is really having that protected time with the Lord.
That's great.
Yeah, I think I would echo that. When I stepped into our work, I came out of ministry. And so I went into a place where I really wasn't qualified to be. And it took me to that place with the Lord that I don't think I'd ever really truly been, where I could not go into the workplace without spending a time with the Lord before I went in there, because it was like, this is your place. These are your people. I have no business being there. I have no business doing what I'm doing, but you've called me to it. And I know that there's a reason for it. And there was something that was so beautiful that I witnessed and experienced, because I didn't have the education that I could walk in and it's like, I know we do this, and this. I went to school for it. I know this. This is our plan. I didn't have that. I had the Lord, and that was all I had. And so the level of dependency that I had, and the relationship and the intimacy grew so far beyond what I ever could have imagined in that time and in that season. It was really, truly a beautiful thing, but necessary for sure.
Okay, I love that all of you kind of just shared really your connection with the Lord and showing up, how you show up in the space as really being a core component. Um, there's lots of things, some of the things Chuck spoke about, but also there are a lot of kingdom values. Some of the things, even last night on the panel, like generosity and some of the things Chuck referenced. I would wonder if for any of you, there is a particular aspect of the kingdom of God or just a kingdom value that he's highlighted to you personally that's been something that's really been important in your journey in the workplace.
I would say something at least recently for me and my wife as well as humility. Because working in the job that I do, it's very easy to look at, oh, look at what I did, or look at the arrest that I made, or the investigation that I'm doing, or that I'm promoting myself, or this, that, and the other, right? But God has really placed, honestly, in the last, I would say, 3 or 4 years within not only myself, but my wife, that being humble and recognizing where maybe my coworkers are struggling in a certain area and being able to share my faith with them, not because of anything that I've done, but because of what Christ has done for me, right? And I say that not just because of me, but also my wife, is because I would say about 3 years ago, my wife kind of shoulder tapped me and said, hey, we don't really have a ministry or a fellowship or a small group of just first responders, not just law enforcement, but fire and EMS and nurses, to really share and grow in our faith. And so my wife and I, for the last few years, have really been focusing on that. And obviously, not just within my workplace, but expanding that outside of how else can we humbly seek the Lord and what he wants for us, but then also grow that into other people and help them in that area of their life as well. Because what more would you want than when you're in your time of need, that you want a faith-based, a Christian responding to your house and bringing the Lord into your house when really, honestly, maybe Satan's trying to put his impression in there, right? So
That's great. Thank you.
Joy, 100% for me. I think that joy is definitely a tool for resiliency. And, you think about like the shield of faith. Joy to me is an offensive weapon. So it's not just, the sword of the spirit. It's joy because it disrupts environments. And especially when it's not expected, when you're confronted with so much suffering, need, lack, scarcity, and you can show up and carry joy in spite of, we have this cut, we have this situation going on, there's a fire, there's a flood at this property. It really displaces whatever else is going on in that atmosphere. I get asked all the time, why do you smile so much? Well, Jesus.
And don't you love that he's like, and this is actually how you're going to get joy, or how you're going to be strengthened with joy.
People always think my younger sister is the older sister just because I don't know. I'll just leave that there.
Okay.
A little less serious, I think. I'm a little less serious sometimes.
For us, I would say it was definitely honor. And I'm really grateful that it was at the very beginning of when I stepped into the business, the Lord put that on my heart, that we needed to create a culture of honor. And I didn't really know what that would lead to. And in that time, we didn't necessarily have all of the right people in place. And so I sat down with all of our employees and I shared, this is what we are doing. We are raising the bar in this place, and honor is going to be very central at how we treat people and each other and customers, and on and on and on. And there were definitely people who found other jobs because of that. And it was such an incredible experience for me, because I felt like we raised the bar. We raised the bar up to here, and everybody who was supposed to be there just quickly rose to that. And it was almost like we gave them something that they could achieve. We gave them a place that they could rise to, and they felt so good about it. And I'll never forget, it was not long after we had really started intentionally focusing on creating this culture of honor that it was a cabinet shop that I'm talking about. And my shop foreman called me and he said, hey, can you come down to the shop? And that's never actually a good thing when that happens. Like, oh, Lord, what is it? And I'm praying the whole way down there. And I get down there and he's standing over here and he's steering over off into this section. I go, what's going on? And he goes, I've been doing this for over 25 years. I've never seen this happen. I go, what is it? And we had the huge shop, separated into different areas and divisions and what people were working on. He goes, he came up against a problem and he was trying to troubleshoot and he couldn't figure it out. And he was just staring at it. And then he saw what was going on and he came over. He's in general build, he's in custom. And then this guy over here came and they're like, "What's going on? How can I help you?" And there's like 5 guys huddled all around this project and they're brainstorming and they're helping each other. He goes, "I've never seen this." He goes, "Everybody stays in their segregated parts. They do their own thing. They don't, if that guy's screwing up, they're like, "Oh, that's his problem." They've never done this before. And so it was just this, I've seen so many things just like this where I care about you now and I want to help you and I want to make sure that you succeed. I honor you and you got a problem, I'm going to come and I'm going to help you. And it was just story after story after story that I got to witness because we set the bar up here and we made this is foundational and we're not going to shift on this. We're going to do it. Everybody did it with us.
I think my perspectives and how I present myself in the workplace or even in the community, I think it's evolved over the years. I think the journey has been different towards the end than sort of in the beginning. And I suppose a couple of things that I thought a lot about was how can I represent Jesus's love and light into the workplace or into the community? So I suppose love and light would be my 2 words on that. And I think where I've gotten to in a couple ways. One, I think about the story of the old and the new wineskin. And I think the old wineskin, at least for me in this story, represents sort of who we were or who sometimes we are. And the new wineskin really represents Jesus and the new creation and who he's created us to be. And that a big part of our job is filling up that new wineskin. And the new wineskin to fill up is with things like generosity and abundance and grace and kindness and love. And that's what he's asking us to do. And we actually have the privilege of then carrying that to wherever we happen to be. And in carrying that, hopefully people can see Jesus' love and in that. And I love what some people were talking about this morning, the speakers, around making choices around that, talking about how do we carry God's glory into the workplace. So I think I've thought a lot about that. I still think about that. The other piece with the light, how can we be light? And I think for me, part of that has been how can I be in a relationship or friendship? That was a great word. How do we lead with friendship last night? How can I be in a place and even for a moment try to buffer the darkness from that relationship as we're in relationship or in friendship? And the darkness doesn't have to be evil. It can be somebody's harried life or just busy schedule. How do you buffer that just for a moment? And in that space, it gives Jesus a chance to have people experience something different. And so somebody can experience love or kindness or generosity in that space. And so I suppose those are a couple things that I've thought a lot about over the years and trying to get better at it.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for sharing. If there's one last thing or just anything that you would, that you didn't have an opportunity or I didn't ask directly that you would want to just share from your perspective of doing your work, your calling with Jesus. If there's anything, I just want to give you a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I'll continue the theme of just moving along down in the line.
like
One thing that I kind of highlighted on, I want to make sure I really hit as well, and I know everyone carries stress home, right? Not just obviously first responders, but every job they carry stress home. And one thing that I've been really cool to see is where I've been able to lead. My wife has also led it in awesome in other areas as well. So like a part of the ministry that we run is not just first responders, but it's families as well. And a big facet of that is the spouses having their relationship with Christ being the first and foremost. That way they're better able to lead their household maybe when their spouse is away or on a call out or whatever, but also better ways to help lead their spouse when they come home after a traumatic day or a long day, right? Like a day that's supposed to be 10 hours turns into 15 or 20, and then the things that they see and being able to help process them. And just one thing I really wanted to make sure I highlighted as well is just having a spouse at home in this type of job is huge, but also having a spouse that really seeks Jesus first before she even comes to me for anything has been pretty awesome, and is just something that her and I both pray for every first responder family within Lane County, but obviously the world, and obviously especially nationally within the United States, is having that healthy balance of, yeah, the first responder seeing Jesus first is awesome, but also the spouse who's holding everything down at home has been something really cool to see her grow in as well. So
That's great. Thanks.
I would definitely echo that. It makes a big difference. Absolutely. I think a key is even though you know that you're in the right place at the right time, it doesn't necessarily make the day easier. So it's really having that fortitude of, okay, Lord, what are we doing here? And that these dreams that I have, that you're dreams that you put in my heart to kind of bring forward and kind of steward. And so it's not that I'm doing this or my team is doing this, but I view it as he's the top of the org chart. What do you want to see happen and how are we doing this? So it's kind of a what's on the docket today, what adventure is ahead. I think that's a big key.
I love that. Top of the org chart. New title. King of Kings and top of the org chart. Let's go. Anything, Chris or John?
I want to really encourage you guys. I have such a testimony of just unity in this city that I could not have done some of the things that I have done in my workplace. There was years ago a moment of real difficulties at one of our businesses, and my husband and I were just beyond knowing what to do, and we had just been seeking the Lord and seeking the Lord and seeking the Lord, and just beginning to feel so hopeless. And before I went into the workplace, I was very much involved with One Hope, and so I had a community and I had relationship, I had friends. And I reached out, and everybody is in this room, our One Hope team, everybody who came, but they came to our office. And for 2 hours, we were in a circle. And for 2 hours, Steve led a time of prayer and ministry to my husband and I for our business and this really big thing that we were facing. And it was life changing because it was we had each other and we had the Lord, and that was great, but there comes a time in life where we just need more, right? And we had that, and we had these friends who had gathered around us, that when he and I stepped into the room, we were done, we were without hope. And they came around us and they ministered to us in a way that it said, this is so hard, you guys are carrying this, you know what, I'm going to grab your arm, I'm going to grab your other arm. We're going to carry you. We're going to take this with you. We're going to leave this place, and we're going to still continue to pray about this, and we're still going to continue to lift you guys up. And we left after 2 hours, and we were driving home, and we just went, what just happened? Because I have a new energy, and I actually kind of have hope again, and I'm not feeling so down and depressed and discouraged. And you guys, we have the most beautiful gift in this community that if you are willing to step into, it will change your life. It has the potential to do such great and amazing things, because it's not just, I'm not just in this place doing this hard thing by myself. There's a whole community of believers that are in this city, and that once we can find each other, we can loop arms and we can go through life together, and whatever comes our way. And we have tough things. When you're in a workplace, there are tough things that go down, and we don't have to do it alone. We don't have to face it alone. And it changed us. It changed our whole perspective, our whole outlook. Everything in those 2 hours changed and shifted for us. And so, what a gift that we have in this city. I'm just so honored that we had that.
Amen.
Very nice. That's a great story. It's just like Steve and Patty, though.
I know.
The only piece I would add is I do think we have opportunities to be yeast in this community, and we can leaven the community. And so, as we are generous and loving and kind and those kinds of things, we do have an opportunity to be little yeast packets in the community that people now can
That's right.
that they can grow and that can spread. So, and your story is similar to that, yeah.
Can you thank our friends for just sharing today? Thank you, guys.